Now, what are we going to talk about today? First of all, we're going to talk about software licenses. Now, keep in mind that in any moment of the course, you can just use the questions box of GoToWebinar. There's a little questions box. You can just ask your question. I have it in the screen beside me here. Once I see it, I'll be happy to answer. So, what are software licenses? Basically, let's say you have many different engineers. Well, you currently have a project that you need to design a new engine or a new wing or, well, anything. You need to design something, and we no longer do it with pen and paper, of course. So any software from MATLAB, CATIA, Autodesk, anything requires a license to operate. What does that mean, a license? Well, basically, like a driver's license. You're approved to use that, and you have the amount of licenses, well, per user, or you might have floating licenses, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now, okay, you probably have, I don't know, if you're new to the licensing world, well, you might have, I don't know, Adobe or something that you downloaded and it works fine, or maybe you bought it, or that's it. That Adobe has an embedded license specifically for you. Now, if you're 2, 3, 4 people, then yeah, one guy can get a license, each one can get a license because you're a bunch of engineers working on the same project. Okay, great. What if you got 50? What if you have an organization that has 20,000 engineers, each doing something else? One will design the wing, one will design the engine, and one will design tomorrow's party. I don't know. Each one has its own job. Now they all need licenses. Now let's take a look at the different models that we had from the start of software licensing until now. So from the beginning, it was super simple. As I explained, you got one user and you got one license for that user, meaning that this user, Bob, can access AutoCAD, Bob can use AutoCAD. But again, once you have 20, 30, 100 users, you scale up, then you can't keep using single-use licenses. You can't keep using your licenses which are specifically for a user or specifically for a certain workstation. So vendors, meaning the publishers of the applications, whoever created AutoCAD, whoever created Adobe and all those, they decided basically to follow a different model. After a while, clients came up to them and said, okay, I have 100 users, I have 10,000 users. Some work in Mexico, some work in Sweden, some work in Japan. So why do I need to buy so many licenses? Maybe they can share those licenses. And then came the floating license era. It's basically widespread with most engineering applications. They use floating licenses. Now, a floating license, that's very smart. That's not one user, one license. You got one license that everybody can share. So if I'm not using it, well, you can use it. If China's not using it, Sweden can use it. Now, of course, there are local floating licenses and global floating licenses, each with their own price, global usually costing a bit more. But this way, users can share either within the office or within different departments within the same organization. So that basically increased the utilization. That means you can have less licenses used by more users. So you got 50 users, you don't need 50 licenses. Maybe you just need 20 because they're shared. But you have to know what you need to buy. So if you needed AutoCAD, then you need to buy floating licenses for AutoCAD. If you want, I don't know, Illustrator, you need to buy for Illustrator. So it's very specific to the feature that you want, to the application that you want licenses to. Now, where's the problem here? Let's say I have 100 or 10,000 engineers. They don't use just one type of application from that publisher. They don't use just one type of licensing. So it became very complicated, very fast to track those floating licenses and to know what you need. Okay, do I need Inventor? Do I need AutoCAD? Maybe I'll just buy SolidWorks. What do I need? So from that came the token licensing, which allowed for product catalogs to be purchased. That means you don't buy the specific license for a specific application, you just buy a bunch of tokens for the whole product list. Meaning that you have all the products under the same catalog, and you just buy a bunch of tokens for that catalog. So if with floating licenses, let's talk about Carnival tokens. Well, with floating licenses, you basically needed to pay for each ride at the beginning. At the start, you need to pay for each ride. You need to know which rides you want to ride on. With token licensing, you basically pay at the entrance, and that's it. You just pay a few tokens, and you can ride all the rides. That's basically the simplest way to convey it. So with token licenses, basically you can buy a full catalog and say, oh, I need just, I don't know, 100,000 tokens, and that's it. I don't care about different features. I have it all in the catalog. What my users want, they will have. And all those licenses were actually shared, just like floating licenses. So if you used, I don't know, 10 tokens to use a certain application, so those 10 tokens were consumed for the time that you used it, but when you finished, you just put them back. Now, then big clients started saying, okay, we have problem with license availability. Because, okay, token licenses, floating licenses, I'm gonna buy as little licenses that I can, the smallest amount that I can. So they said, okay, we're gonna stay with a token catalog system, but now the tokens will be infinite, but will be consumable, and we'll charge you per use. So it's basically pay per use. So if you pay 10 tokens to use it, then those 10 tokens are gone. But the catch is you pay it per day. So if I use an application for 2 days, I'll pay 2 tokens. I'll pay twice the tokens from when I use the token licenses, where I just used one set, just 10 tokens, that's it. With Token Flex, each day you pay another set of tokens for it. Now, what's going on right now? We see some vendors starting to double back, which is kind of funny. They went to about here, tokens and tokens, flex licenses, and now they're going back to single-use licenses. I don't know why, but we're starting to see that, meaning you get just licenses for the users or the workstations themselves. For example, Autodesk, I know, have this 2-to-1 deal that they do. They give you 2 single-use licenses for a single floating license that you have. It's not a popular choice. We have our CEO talking about this on YouTube. You can look it up. He's basically explaining that you shouldn't really do that. In most cases, it's not effective. But yeah, that's the whole process of licensing, and it's pretty much a loop. We're seeing looping it. We're seeing it looping and doubling back on itself. So, who's to manage all of this? Well, this poor guy. He's got 50 users, got 50 end users. They all need licenses. I need SolidWorks. I need this. I need that, because they all have deadlines. They need to finish their project because their boss is on their back. Hey, I need that wing. When are you gonna finish designing that wing? So it's the license admin's job to actually provide them with an environment that has all the licenses they need for all the applications they need. So sometimes no licenses left, so they get denied from getting licenses, and they call the license admin up and say, hey, I don't have licenses. What's going on? So they get delayed. But the license admin can say, oh, so I'll buy all the licenses, or whatever. Well, that will cost a lot. So basically, the license admin's job is to make sure that you don't have too many licenses, but you don't have too little licenses, and you keep things efficient. So what do the vendors offer? How can you manage this? Basically, what the vendors offer is the license manager. The license manager is just a piece of software. It's a software you install on a certain server, and all the users that want licenses, they actually turn to that server and get the license from there. Now it holds the floating licenses. You might hold like named licenses as well, token licenses. That's the hub of the license usage for that vendor. So some vendors will choose to use FlexLM. Some vendors will choose to use a mix. Each vendor will choose a different thing. Now, with machine-bound licenses, you've got the license file, which is on the machine itself. It's on the server or it's on the workstation. It's there and only there, and the application can only be used there. Or for a certain user, you might have a login, of course. Now, a floating license server, the license file is basically on the license server, not on the workstation. And the license server provides licenses to whomever he chooses. For example, you can choose, the admin can define not to give licenses to this user for certain criteria, and to indeed give licenses to these users. This way, the admin can have some control. It can define who can get it, who can't, and with which criteria, because it has a single point of providing licenses. And this is the license manager. Bad, I know. I think it's intentionally just giving out text, not a lot of no graphs, no charts, basically nothing. You just put the license file, the options file, the debug log, you point it to all the files that you need, and it can spit out basically the status inquiry text. So most users, what they do without OpenLM, the license admin, what he does, it just clicks it, collects information, puts it somewhere, clicks it, collects information, puts it somewhere, or has some kind of automated system that grabs the logs and just clicks it every minute or every hour, or just samples it and puts it in a database. And the problem here is that FlexLM might change the syntax. You'll have to get a guy to get SQL queries and maintain that. It's a mess. Now, let's say you click it, and between when you click it, you got a session that started and ended. You totally missed that session. So the data itself is not valid. The data itself is basically somewhat guesswork, and you don't have a really good visibility on the license status. So this guy basically is facing all these users with this, and also management. It's bad. So what OpenLM does is basically monitor that license manager, that component that sends out licenses to users and gives you basically no statistics. So OpenLM monitors that. OpenLM keeps clicking that, and gets the output and compiles it into the database and creates you all the reports that you need. But what does it do? Well, first of all, license output. As I said, just clicks it many times, reads it, puts it in the database. The license file itself is being read and parsed, meaning it will know your packaging, it will know the amounts, it will know expirations, everything that the license file holds. Now, package, that's a peculiar thing. That's a strange thing. Because Autodesk, let's say you have AutoCAD, and Autodesk is pumping out AutoCADs each year. So you got AutoCAD 2016, 2017, 2019, and you don't really want to buy a license for each one, because if you remember, floating licenses, you gotta buy a license for a feature. So they said, okay, I don't want you to buy, Autodesk said, okay, I don't want you to buy each year all the licenses again, so I'm just going to give you a bundle, and each year I'm going to add a component to that bundle. So now it will be 2020. So you can see the 2016, 15, 14, 17 are components of that package, and that's taken in to OpenLM. The license file is being read. Now also the debug log. Debug log is something that the license manager just outputs. It just writes to the debug log. It says who got a license, from where, when was it put back, if the user got denied, and so on. So this is also taken into the OpenLM system. Now, why do we need that? Because if we click here, I said that we get the usage. So why do we need that? Debug log, why? Well, data validation. Let's say it clicks, click, but in between the clicks, I don't know, someone closed this session. Or someone started the session and stopped the session in between the sampling. Because the samplings themselves are 1 minute. Every minute it's sampled. But what happens between those minutes is taken in with the debug log. So the debug log can say, okay, it actually ended the session at this specific time, at this second. And OpenLM will know that to get the data it got from status inquiry and to combine it with the data it got from the debug log. Last is the options file. If you remember, I showed you that the license server can help you decide who gets the license and who doesn't. So that's basically created using simple syntax. Exclude this user, exclude this group from this feature, reserve one license to this group, and so on. So that can be written by the admin and taken in by the license manager. So OpenLM also reads that. So we'll know who is included, who is excluded, who is reserved, and so on. Now OpenLM can also write to that, because writing this text, if you got 100 groups and many different features, that's a mess. So OpenLM can also help you with editing that file using just a point and click interface. Click here, click there, and it's done. OpenLM writes it for you. So all that basically is taken in by the OpenLM broker. All these files, the license output, license file, debug log, options file, are taken in by the OpenLM broker, which sits on the license server where you install the license manager. Now it will send information to OpenLM. All the information will be sent to OpenLM server and stored into the OpenLM database. So if you have any questions, again, please use the questions box of GoToWebinar. I'll be happy to answer. So that concluded like the basic overview of licensing. What is software licensing? Where were we and where are we now? But you came to the OpenLM free course. So what can OpenLM do? First of all, you probably already understood monitoring. OpenLM will monitor your license managers. So you might have one, but you might have 100 license managers. So OpenLM can monitor all of them at once and give you all the data in one interface. So you'll know what's going on, who's using, what they're using, when they started, when they ended, everything. You can also manage those license managers. If you want to start, stop, upload files, download files, edit the options files. So you can also do that using OpenLM, using a single interface. You don't have to go again to this interface and change it on this interface. Then go to another server and do it again on that interface. If you got 100, that's like 3 days work, just because you got new licenses. So OpenLM basically helps you to do that with click, 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 boom. In about a few minutes, you're done. And all this comes to reduce spending. Because again, the license admin, he needs to make sure that, yeah, everybody has licenses. So he's monitoring the tool. He knows if everybody has licenses. If he needs to release licenses from users, he does that. But he also needs to make sure that he's not spending a lot of money on licenses for no good reason. He needs to justify that in front of procurement, when presenting to management. So this is what OpenLM helps you to do. It tells you exactly what you have, what you're using, and basically how much you can cut. The last thing is compliance. Once you have everything set up, you know you're compliant. No vendor can come up to you and tell you that you misused the application, you owe us money, and no one can sue you, no one can audit you. Well, maybe they can, but it will be very simple. You'll have everything set up. It's all in one interface with many, many reports, many, many widgets, but it's all there. Take a look. So the compliance issue is greatly reduced. So what will you be doing in the next next meeting? So on the next course, we will go over how to install OpenLM on cloud. So you get 90 days free, and what we'll do is install an OpenLM broker on a license manager, on a license server. It will find our license managers and send information to our OpenLM Cloud instance. Now, just connecting to the cloud instance using just any browser, you can view all the reports and widgets and everything that I'm about to show you. Now, a few words on the extensions that you'll have available. First of all, you'll be able to get certain alerts. For example, the license server went down or the license manager is not responding. Well, you can get notified on that to your email. If a license is about to expire, if an application is being used for too long by a certain user, so you can get notified. You can modify the options file using the OpenLM interface. You don't have to do text-based editing. Roles and permissions, that means different users in the organizations will be able to see different things in OpenLM. One is an admin, one is a user. You can assign different visuals to different users. And group usage. You'll be able to get users grouped and see usage by those groups. So what should you prepare for next time? Just a few words, and then I'm gonna show you the interface of OpenLM. Just a few words, just to show you how OpenLM does everything that I talked about. So what you'll need to do is download the OpenLM broker and place it on the license server. So you can download it in our website. Just go to openlm.com and you got a download section there, and just download it there, the OpenLM broker. We have it on Linux and on Windows as well. Make sure you have Edge, Chrome, or Firefox. Internet Explorer 11 doesn't work. Internet access, you'll need to open the port 443 on the license server, because the broker will need to communicate with the cloud instance of OpenLM. So make sure the port 443 is open, of course, to the internet. And that's it. Make sure the license managers are up and running, and you'll have it all set. Now, as I said, you'll get 90 days trial on our cloud instance. You'll get also once you're done with the course, you'll also get a certificate that you finished the course, certified by OpenLM. But now, let me show you OpenLM, because, okay, I've talked about it, I'll show you a presentation, cool, but let's see OpenLM. So OpenLM tells you a story. It tells you what's going on right now in your system. It tells you what happened, historical information, and also utilization, how well you actually utilize those licenses, telling you how many licenses you'll need. Give me 1 second, please. So, what are we seeing here? We're seeing, first of all, 8 license managers. I got Autodesk, ArcGIS, ANSYS, and I see the amount of licenses I have there. So if I click on, let's say, this one for simplicity, got 1 license, but it's a package. We'll see 1 package and features inside, 14, 15, 16, 17. If you remember, we talked about this. Now, besides seeing the different features, which features are being used, you can see who's actually using them. So I see 30 out of 30 right here. Clicking on that, I'll see who's using it. So William, Will, Aaron, Holly, Eva, I see which group they belong to, when they started, which workstation they're working off of, their session duration, and also even idle time, session idle time, but not going to discuss that right now. Now, these users are currently using different applications, such as AutoCAD. So I'm just going to open AutoCAD for now. But OpenLM can also help you manage. So clicking here, we see files. And I can upload the license file. If I have new license files, I'll just upload them. If I want to download the different files on the license managers, just download it. Now, if you have 1 license manager, that's no biggie. Just go there, do that. But if you have 100, that's a mess. So using this makes it real easy. Now, of course, that you can start, stop, and reread the license file, meaning that you can access, start, stop the license manager itself. And you see, I started a session, Autodesk, and I have usage right here. This is me. So this can scale up. You see 200 different license servers here. Now, these names are encrypted for privacy's sake. So, but what you can see is many different types. You got Loom, LSDyna, FlexLM, LMX, RLM, many different types, all under the same roof, all under the same interface. Now, you probably are interested in reporting. So let's take a look at this report. This is like the basic report you'd want to use if you're using the widespread floating licenses. So what are we seeing here? First of all, we got the license quantity. So I have 70 licenses from this feature. Now I'm just taking this point in time as an example. So I have 70 licenses, but if I open up my OpenLM system, run a query on this feature, and I see this case, well, I know I need less licenses because this is the concurrent usage level. Like 11 licenses was used concurrently at this point. 10 max, like 15 max. That's like not a lot for the 70 that I have, meaning that I'm spending a lot of money for no good reason. So OpenLM tells you that right away, but let's take a different example. Let's take this point. This point in time shows us a good view. Well, we got 70 licenses, and yeah, we're using 60, 70, 68. We're maxing it out even at a few points here, which is not very good, but we're seeing that it's not far from maxing out, and it's basically pretty good. Mostly it's not maxing out. So right away, you can see the health of your licenses. Maybe you're maxing out all the time. No one has licenses ever. Maybe you don't. Maybe you have too many licenses. But you can also view this as a heat map if it's easier. So we got like a weekly report here. Let's go to the heat map. So we got the hours of the day, and we got the days on the y-axis right here. So by the way, we see that most of the usage is concentrated during working days and during working hours. Like Sunday, Saturday, mostly green. Most of the usage 7 until 5. And I see I'm even maxing out right here, 70 out of 70, so users didn't get licenses if they needed to, because everybody's using it. All the seats are taken. Now at this point, when all the seats are taken, then people are getting denied, but you can view that. You can see that denial. With the denials report, OpenLM shows you exactly which users got denied, when, and so on. So you can kind of aggregate them however you like, by user, by the different groups, by whatever you choose. Now you can also show a true denial. Not a lot know what a true denial is. True denial, that basically means, well, let's say you try to get a license. Your application went to one license server and got denied. But a second after, it went to another license server and did get the license. So what do you care about the first denial? Probably you don't. You only want to see true denials. So if I don't show true denials, I have like 130. Show true denials, I have like 64. Because it's aggregated to show you the true denials. People actually got denied, and you got users actually not being able to use the license. Now all this basically culminates into the license utilization report. Let's try to understand what is it. Let's take a look at this graph. It's a weird graph, but it basically shows us the amount of time spent on each concurrent usage level. We got 1 until up to 70. Yeah, because we have 70 licenses. Correct. So how much time did it spend on 70? How much time did it spend right here, or right here, or right here on 70, like maxed out? So if you go to this report, hover over 70, we see it was maxed out for 0.01% of the time. Now if we take a look at this, yeah, it's like here, and here, and here, and that's about it. It's not a lot. Now, how long did it spend on I don't know, 19? So like right here, eventually it tells you 19 was about 1% of the time, and so on. So this allows us to set a quality of service line. Let's say that we're okay with the fact that 95% of the times our users will get the license. Cool, that we only need 45 licenses, we don't need 70. That's a huge amount that we can save. So 95% is good, but maybe I want 99%. I want to be able to say definitely that 99%, based on the statistical analysis of my data, I want to know the amount of licenses I need in order to allow my users to get the license 99% of the times that they click to get it. So for that, I need like 59 licenses. Now, we've seen that most usage is concentrated when around working hours and working days. So let's ignore weekends, consider only the working hours. We'll let it process a bit because it's taking about a year of data. And there we go. Got 63 licenses, got the 70, and that basically means we can cut a lot of corners. If you got a lot of licenses, you can save a whole lot of money just by cutting corners here and there. And if you're okay with like 95%, you can cut even more corners. Now, lastly, let's say that, well, you know how many licenses you need, but how many licenses don't you need? That means which features you're not using. So you got like the feature and the quantity that was just never used. No one used it. So you can just buy different packages, mix it up, do things differently. Maybe just buy the feature. I don't know. You'll know. No one used it. Now, OpenLM, if you remember, we talked about the fact that it has the broker. Now, what the broker does, see, it's track and sniff out all the different license managers you have on that server and automatically configures them. That means it might find some that you didn't know you have running, because there are services running in the background. You don't know which ones you have, so it will find them, configure them, and tell you, hey, no one is using them. You will see all the features of that server right here. No one used it ever, so you'll know. Decommission that server. Now, something else that you'll be able to do is, as I said, edit the options file. So going to options file management, you'll be able to click a few things and edit the options file itself. Let's do a test here. Let's take 2017 feature and let's go to groups and add a group. Let's say Chinese marketing, and include them into that group, into that license, that feature. Once we save it and click preview, then we see that it was added automatically. You see 2017 application, include this group. And you can create very long options file with this, and you don't have to do this yourself. You don't have to define it yourself. It defines everything automatically, and then you can deploy it to the license server. You can either read from the license server or deploy to the license server, whatever you choose. Now, you can automate it by going to alerts management and setting up an alert. You add a rule, select the type here and click add to add the alert. Now I'm going to go deeper into details in the next presentation, in the next, well, it's more of a workshop, the second part of the course. But generally going over what you'll have is, first of all, if the license server is not responding, the license manager is down, something's up. Users are not going to get licenses. So you can get notified to your email. Let's say a user is using for too long. They're using for, I don't know, 100 hours or 10 hours or something. You can get notified about this and know that this user is using for too long a certain application. You can also have him get notified automatically, so you won't have to tell him, the system will tell him. You can get notified if a license is about to expire, so you can know like 30, 60 days before, whatever you set. If someone is using 2 licenses on the same workstation, if someone is not a part of any group, or if everything is okay but people are getting denied like crazy. You got 30 denial, you got 200 denials in a span of I don't know, 30 minutes, whatever you said, whatever you define. That means, well, the server might be up, the license might not be expired, but people are still getting denied. Something's wrong. Go check it out so you can get notified. Now, all the reports, you'll be able to schedule, schedule reports and also get them to your email, get that report so you won't have to go into the system itself. And that's pretty much it. That's all I want to show you today. Again, going over what you'll need is download the OpenLM broker. Make sure the license managers are up, running, working perfectly. The port 443 is open, meaning the license server is exposed to the internet. And use any Edge, Chrome, or Firefox browser. And that's it. We'll do that simultaneously, so make sure you have everything ready, and we'll do it together step by step. But if not, you'll be able to get the help of the support team of OpenLM if you go to the OpenLM website. Click About Us and Contact Us. There are various ways for you to contact us. First, just email, contact sales, contact support. You can call us up in any of our centers right there. Or just click here and you'll get a chat bubble. You'll be able to start a chat with us. That's like the fastest way to get in touch with us. You have something now, something urgent, not working, just open chat and you'll have someone right away. Okay, any questions, guys? There's the questions box of GoToWebinar. If you can find it, a little questions or chat box, just ask away. I see someone raise their hand. So if you have a question, just go ahead, type it. I'll be happy to answer. So what did we see? Let's recap. No, I see someone else raise their hand. I'm gonna unmute you all, guys, so you can also speak if you want. But if you don't want to, then you can just mute yourself right back. So now you can unmute yourself, mute yourself. You can decide. Or just use the questions box. I see 3 raise their hands. I'm gonna try to unmute.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Had a question?
Yeah, I have a question. I just wanted to understand. Can we able to understand actual utilization of the software using the OpenLM?
What do you mean? Can you expand on that?
Yeah, my question on the actual utilization of the software.
Mm-hmm.
So once you install the software, so we are getting the report like that. Yes, we install the software and we can able to understand with the help of agent and all. But if I'm taking the example for the organization level and all, still many tool is not able to understand actual utilization of the software. Okay, this person is used 2 days, 3 days, or maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. Now all the
Hmm.
things. So after that, we can come on the conclusion. Yes, this person used the software 60 days or 90 days. Then accordingly, we will take the action and we will try to remove the license from this particular system, and we can save the cost and all. So is that particular mechanism is available with the OpenLM?
Yes, this is also, sorry about that. I've just refreshed the page here. This is also available in OpenLM. You can see the usage itself. So let me open up the license activity right here and just get an activity report. And we see all the users. So this is the raw data, and we see the start time, end time, and how long they've actually been using each application. And we can also group it. So we can group it by the different groups, group it by the different users, and see how long the users have been actually using the application for the time span we selected. So yes, we can indeed see the usage time, and also if using the on-premise version of OpenLM, not the cloud, then you'll have also the ability to monitor idle time. But that's a bit more advanced. That requires another component.
Okay,
You'll be able to see if when that was active, when it was idle, when it was actually used, and how long it was used.
okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem.
And one more
Robert,
question on the
regarding
same line. Okay,
here. Yes, just answering Robert. 1 second. The URL to download the link, if you go to the OpenLM website, openlm.com, go to downloads, customer area, or free trial, doesn't matter. Both will have the OpenLM broker right there for Linux or for Windows. Yes, sorry, go ahead, Mega.
yeah. A question on the custom fields because, let's example, Microsoft Office and all, it's a name user license, or maybe Adobe and all. These are the name users license and all. But sometimes that particular license matrix is not available, and some of the license audits happening with the help of license matrix only. If
Mhm.
we are using the incorrect license matrix, obviously we will have to pay the cost on that and all the things. So is
Mhm.
it possible to create the custom license matrix with the help of OpenLM?
Uh, yes, you can indeed do that. Let me show you. In OpenLM, you have the ability to package the users. So let's say you don't get that packaging information, and you don't know which feature is a child of which other feature by the license file. Then you can define that in OpenLM. You can define who's the package, who's the feature, and basically you got like groups of features you can group together and see the usage correctly, and it won't be doubled.
Okay. And third question on the same line. So is it possible to understand the vulnerability of the software? So that means, let's example, if I install the software in my machine, I just wanted to understand. I don't know anything about the license and all. I just wanted to understand the automatically things. Okay, this is a freeware software. This is a trial version software. This is evaluation software and all. So can we able to pull the report with the help of OpenLM?
Yes, you'll be able to pull the reports within the evaluation period. Once that's done, you have two ways you can go. Either the free version, which gives you one vendor and I think 50 users, or go for the enterprise, site license, and the other paid offers.
Yeah. No, my question is related to understand the automatically. Okay, this is a freeware, this is evaluation software, or maybe it's open source and all the things. So how we can able
Uh,
to understand?
I see. So what you're looking for in that case is a software asset management application. That's something else. Software asset management finds everything you have on your system, meaning which servers, which workstations you have installed, which applications you have installed on there, which types, how much did it cost, where was it, and all that information is SAM software related. But if you're talking about engineering applications, because they have this either floating token flex system to it, a model to it, so it works a bit differently, and SAM software can't really track it. So that's where OpenLM comes in and gives you a solution for all the engineering applications. For SolidWorks, ArcGIS, you name it, that we support more than 100,000 different applications.
Okay, got it. And last question on the vulnerability kind of things. Like example, I install the software along with the version, like example 4.5 and all. But I want to understand with the help of OpenLM, okay, this is the vulnerability software and you can't, so it will impact the organization all if you are trying to install the 4.6 and all. So that means I am looking the specification. So that means I will get the advisory and he will try to give me some kind of common vulnerability CVEs and all the things. So we can able to understand if we install this software, so might be it's affect our organization and all, might be chance to crack our C drive or maybe D drives and all the things. So can we able to understand or can you able to get the such kind of reports with the help of OpenLM?
For the C drives, again, that's software asset management. They use the SCCM to just track everything, what's installed, how much memory, how much space is left, and all that. So that's more on that side. OpenLM monitors engineering application usage, basically.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. Okay. So thank you very much, guys, for joining me on this course. I'll see you, I believe it's next week. It's up to marketing. They just send me a link for it. So I believe it's next week, same time, but I'm not sure. You'll get a link for it. Have all the things ready. You'll get also a recording of this webinar. So it will take a day or two, but you'll get a recording as well. And anything you need, just go to the OpenLM website and either contact us in any of the various ways that I've shown you, or you could just search for it. So, want FlexLM stuff? Just type in FlexLM. It will give you either how-to configurations. Usually the how-to has like a video here. And you also have KB, which is knowledge base, which is much more informative. How to is just a few steps, do this, 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 and you'll have it up and running in the basic form. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Have a great day. Stay safe. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry, Kamal and Hui. I really hope I pronounced the name right. I'm sorry, I have to close the session. You will be kicked out. I'm sorry for that. Thank you very much for joining the session. Bye-bye.